saying thank you very much to everybody for coming this evening, and I hope you have a lovely time. If you've been before, you'll know how fantastic it is. If you haven't been before, you'll find out how fantastic it is. Hopefully there will be back time. I don't want to say too much, I'm going to hand over to Adrian, but I just want to remind everybody we don't charge at all for this, but there is a donation box inside by the food, a lovely wooden carved box, and donations would be most gratefully absolutely pleased. So that would be lovely. No charge. Adrian, thank you very much for Adrian's time. Thank you to all the committees who've put in time and effort making cakes and food and so forth, etc., etc. So many thank yous over to you.
You'd like to come in a bit, save my voice. Just watching the lads playing the swing ball reminded me of when I was young. And we used to get our own hole out of the wood and dig a big hole and stick it in, and then with a ladder put a baler twine down, and then a tennis ball in a stocking tied on, which was fine. And we used to play, and because you had a really long string, so it was really hard work to wind it all the way up. And because in the end, the stocking would wear away, and twang, and off would go the tennis ball, usually into the pond. We had to retrieve it. But the other thing that reminded me was just a couple of 3 weeks ago, I saw a YouTube of a fox cub playing swing ball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but really playing with its paws, going, donking it, and then trying to get it. Yeah, incredible. Anyway, but we're not here for foxes, and we're not here for ants either. I saw a couple of you investigating the anthill, but we're here for bats. So yes, fingers crossed, there will be some bats. Quite a cool evening, but so long as the insects are flying, the bats will be flying. So, yeah.
I saw a few bats like a few days ago.
Did you? That's promising. Was it as cool as this? Or was it warm? Right, okay, fine. Right, well I'm banking on you then, we're going to see bats. Hopefully round here while we're talking, or I'm talking, or we're discussing bats. You know, bats are something that we don't really know all that much about. We're learning all the time about bats. But what sort of animals are bats? These questions for the youngsters, of course, because I know the adults don't know anyway. Yes. They're mammals. They're mammals. And how do we know they're mammals? They're warm-blooded, yes, but there's also something else special that their mothers do, their mothers provide. Milk, okay? So they are related to us. And bats are more closely related to us than they are to mice. So, yeah. Cool, you'll have to shout louder than that.
If they're related to us, then how do they get coronavirus?
I'm not aware that they did. But anyway. Well, that's another subject. We can talk about that later. There are many, many theories. You know, you can't believe everything you...
On YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
Especially foxes.
So, okay. So they have, although they're mammals, they are uniquely adapted to fly. They are the only mammal that can fly. And their adaptation is that their hands have grown enormously long. So if you imagine me having fingers 2 meters long and the webbing between the fingers growing out right to the tips of those fingers, that gives them the wings, okay? So, unique. And there are bats, you can find bats almost anywhere in the world, apart from at the poles, where it's too cold, and there are very few insects. You can find them in the tropics. So what would be the difference between the bats that we have here and the bats in the tropics, the hot parts of the world? Yeah,
There's fruit bats in the
exactly. In the tropics, they're the fruit bats, and they are much bigger. Although they come in a huge range of sizes. Can somebody help me with my tape measure? Thank you. So, if you hold the end of the, pull that out. Right, so the small, that's enough. So, should we do the smallest wingspan first, or the largest wingspan?
Small
Bat
one
wingspan?
first. Small one first.
We do the small one first. Okay, you come back here. Come back here. Come back. Bit more. Bit more. Bit more. Whoop. Okay. Thank you. There we go. The smallest bat, which is known as the bumblebee bat, because it is literally the size of a bumblebee, that is its wingspan. 29, 30 millimetres. Great. Okay. Off you go. Backwards. 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 Keep going. Don't walk into the table. Don't want any accidents. Keep going. Steady. Keep going. Keep going.
Go to one of them to make this.
Oh.
That can write that.
Well, I find it very hard to believe too. And perhaps I shouldn't believe everything I read on social media. But the largest bat has a wingspan of 170. Well, you can check it out for yourselves. But generally speaking, they are more modest in size. Thanks very much. So they come in a wide variety. They eat different things. All our bats here are, what do we call those? And what they eat. What do our bats eat? Insects. So they're insectivorous or insectivores, right? We do not have any fruit bats. There are around about 1,400 distinct species of bats. The commonest group of bats that we have here are the pipistrelles, and those are the ones that we're most likely to see this evening, pipistrelles. Now there are 4 different kinds of pipistrelles here in England, right? So we're not really going to be able to distinguish between the types of pipistrelles, but we're just going to dial in on these. So, how do bats find their food? Yes. Oh, you're just brushing your hair. Let's have another. You've got 2. Anyone else? How do they find their food? It's dark. They're flying along. How do they find those insects? They've got good eyesight, but good eyesight is not very helpful in the dark. Yeah. They what? Echolocate. They echolocate. So can you tell us a bit more about echolocating? How does that work? It's a great word, but what do they do?
They go around and then they listen, and then they don't look, and then they find it.
Is that right? So yeah, so what they do is they're sending out calls, aren't they? Yeah, and sound bounces back from objects. So they don't hit things. They won't hit the building. They won't hit the wind turbine. I'm going to come on to wind turbines. They won't hit the trees. They will fly close to. echolocating the whole time, and we will hear how they do that, right? When we're listening, when we're dialed into their the sounds that they make, okay? Because we can't, well, I can't hear them. You already know that I'm as deaf as a post. You, children, may be able to hear them echolocating because you've got much better hearing. Yeah. Mine have been destroyed by too much rock. So they fly around, they echolocate, and they can home in on the insects that they're going to catch. Okay, so that is very important. That's how they do it. Where do they live? Where do they live? Yeah. Trees. Some live in trees, in hollow trees. Yeah.
Some live in caves.
Some live in caves. Anywhere else?
Churches.
Roofs. In roofs. Okay, now let's sort this out. Caves, roofs, don't really sound very similar. So in the summertime, bats will be out and about, and they will go into, the females will go into nursery roosts. They need somewhere warm for their babies. There's no good being in a damp cave. So they will be in roof spaces. They will be in the church. We'll come on to the church in a moment. Churches. And they will be in communal roosts. They will be together. So if you know where they roost, you can actually watch them coming out of roof spaces and you can count them out. And a couple of weeks ago I was in Bury. We went to see a show. When we came out, there were a couple of very dodgy looking people standing on the street. Okay, they were wearing high vis, but they were looking up in the air, and I thought, well, they haven't got stiff necks, and they had got something in their hands. I said, oh, you're counting the bats out, aren't you? They said, yes. I said, how many have you counted? I said, none. So they were obviously waiting for them to come out. But as the darkness falls, they will leave their roosts and come out and hunt. And during the night they will go back to rest and then they'll come out again. But in the winter time, they will not be in those roosts. They will go into caves and secure places, hollow trees, big hollow trees, and they will hibernate for most of the winter, okay? So they're active. Why do they hibernate in the winter? What's the logic there? Any ideas? Yeah.
They save energy.
They save energy. They do. Because in the winter, there are not many insects about, are there?
No.
So if they were to go out hunting, they would waste all their energy and they would die. Okay? Right. Bats in churches. We get lots and lots of bats in churches because churches are ancient places. They're ideal for bats. Unfortunately, that makes them quite unpopular. Yeah. And it was actually a vicar's wife set up the movement against bats in churches. Yeah. And the Bishop of Norwich spoke in the House of Lords for the removal of protection of bats. So they're not entirely popular, but bats need our protection. They need our help because it's tough out there. We're changing the environment all the time and we're splashing chemicals all over our fields, including insecticides to kill the insects because we don't want them to eat the crops. But then what do the bats eat? Because there are fewer insects. So it's a big problem. And what about the modern world? Well, We know that their echolocation is fantastic and they never hit anything. They're never going to fly into your hair because they're far too smart for that. And yet, wind turbines kill tens of thousands of bats every year. Well, that doesn't make any sense at all. So what?
Breathing.
Sorry?
We've all stopped breathing with that information. The whole place went.
Yeah.
Can they not detect those?
Well, they've done, you know, people, just look over there while I'm talking. I don't know whether it's a bird or whether it was a bat just flying.
I saw one. I saw one.
You saw one.
I
Good.
saw one. Where? It was like going
Well, look over there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, there's one.
Yeah, there we
Very sick.
The dead tree, keep looking at that gap. The tree's in the dead tree.
Right, started something now. Okay. Do we have a doctor in the house?
Yeah?
They're not here. Thank heavens for that. Well, I'm going to tell you about the bats and the wind turbines while we're just watching that bat. There may be one or there may be two. There we go, there we go. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So, bring it on there.
yeah.
So that's come out quite early. So you can see it flying about. It's probably wondering what all the noise is about over here. Do you know that the brown long-eared bats, they pick their insects off the leaves of trees? They can actually hear a ladybird walking on a leaf. That's how good their hearing is. Oh yes, yes. Definitely. Probably. But what they're interested in terms of people, is the heat. Why should they be interested in the heat? What happens in the summer's evening when we're out camping? Exactly. The body heat attracts the insects and then the bats come. Now, I like to go out in my garden. I either sit in a chair or lie on the grass, and the pipistrelles come swooping round, feeding on those insects that are interested in me. So, anyway, yes, so just to let you know about the wind turbines. It won't be turbines like this, but big turbines with the twisted blades. And they obviously they don't collide with the blades. They've been doing research for years and years and years, and people have been wondering, well, why do they collide with the blades? Well, the answer is that they don't, because their echolocation is far too good. What happens is there's a change in air pressure because of the curvature of the blades, and they die instantly from something called pulmonary barotrauma, which basically means that their lungs explode.
Oh.
So you see, in our modern world, there's an impact, always an impact on wildlife that we, at the beginning, we're completely unaware of. I mean, very few bats die from this in England. It's bats, particularly in North America, that for some reasons insects are attracted to these turbines, and then the bats go after the insects, and then they die because of the change of pressure. So there, interesting fact. Well, it's obviously dark enough now to go and investigate and have a look, see. Well, we can do it in the light. So what I want is 3 very responsible people Well, what we'll do, because there's more hands than we'll do a swap, okay? So we're going to listen for the bats on these echolocators, okay? So what we have to do is switch them on. Okay? You switch them on, and then you turn the dial, you see this here, you turn the dial to about 55, okay? Right, so you start off with one. You put your torch away, and then hold on to that. Hold on to that with your hand. Put that in your pocket.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
In a minute. Right, we'll swap over, okay? Swap over. We'll do a few minutes each, so you all get a go. Right, turn the dial to 55. And to switch it on, we've got a dial on the side. Right. Are the bats still flying over there?
Haven't seen
Andy? Are the bats still over there? No?